All right, here we go. Hey guys, welcome to Tabee Talk. It's Tuesday. So, just as we kind of give a second to let everybody get on, I'll just kind of touch base again on what Tabee Talks are about and the whole idea of them. Basically, I'm Tabee for Tabee Talks, and I just want to be able to encourage you and spread that with you. I want to be able to help you to be able to basically help others and encourage others. And so, yeah, that's basically what this is all about. And I hope that's what is coming from it. I really still appreciate and thank you, everybody, for your messages. And I thank you. Some of you have jumped on and subscribed. I told you guys last week that I started my YouTube channel. So to kind of keep these in a central place, I guess, because on the Instagram lives, they actually end up going away. So yeah, and I want it to blossom later into more things, hopefully. So I just figured that was a good thing to start with. Yeah, so I appreciate it, and thank you guys for those who have messaged me and have actually encouraged me and helped me too. You guys are great. Tonight I'm going to be talking about people pleasers, and I might get into a little bit about like non-people pleasers too, touch base on that a little bit. I put up a little survey today on Instagram and Facebook, and I put it up yesterday. Sorry, I put the results up today, but majority of you, and thank you guys who partook in that, majority of you are just like me and you're people pleasers. Yeah, yes, right? I don't think it's a bad thing though, so we'll get into that. But yeah, so I'm glad that I'm not the only one, and I'm not alone in the people-pleasing world. And yeah, so I'm going to jump in here, but right before I jump in, I just want to touch base on, so I don't know if you remember, but in episode 2, and if you missed it, you can go back and listen, I talked about tool sheds, and what's in your tool shed and how to use it and all those things. But over on my YouTube at Tabee Talks, you'll see it, it's there, and yeah, but just from episode 2, when I talked about that, I talked about using your tools, and I just want to give you an example because I know I challenge you guys every week to use what we talk about, whether it's for yourself or for someone else. But I just wanted to share with you my personal story that actually just happened this past weekend. When I got to use my tool, I told you guys one of my big tools was worship music, and so Saturday we went to an Easter egg hunt, and it was fun. Maddie got a bunch of candy that she can't eat, so yeah, of course I keep eating it, which is not helping me going to the gym, but besides the point. So yeah, we went to the Easter egg hunt, and on the way back, it was on the other side of the water, so on the way back, of course, we had to come across the bridge, through the tunnel, all those good things. I've never really been a huge fan of bridges and tunnels, but they've never really been that big of an issue. I don't go to the other side of the water that often, and I make it. We get across, we're good. This time, coming back, it was pouring down rain, and I was not driving, so there's probably a control thing there too, but I was not driving, and it was raining, and you literally you could barely see out the front window. And I got very, very anxious. So I didn't really know what to do. I got anxious to the point of like I felt like I couldn't talk. My husband was driving, his mom was in the car as well, and they were talking, carrying on a conversation, and I felt numb, like literally numb. Like I felt like I couldn't move, I couldn't talk. I was picturing the absolute worst case scenario in going across a bridge, and it was raining, and there was a car in front of us, and I just, of course, horrible image, but in my head, we went over, okay? Horrible image. I should not be thinking those things, but it happened. I felt like I was being attacked at the time by the enemy, and I began to just like try to start praying and, asking God to help me through it. We're going to make it across. We're almost there. We can, I got this. And then very faintly in the background, this song came on the radio, and I might be saying the title wrong, but the words in it are "Fear is a liar. You're not welcome here." And that's literally like in the midst of me like praying and trying to get across this bridge and be able to say something out loud. The song comes on, and it kind of helped me, that worship, that tool that I usually use, it just happened for me. I was using the tool of prayer too, but I use the tool of worship, and that's kind of my comfort is worship. I get a lot from worship music. But yeah, so I just wanted to share that with you guys. I made it across the bridge. Of course, I'm here, and I don't want that to ever happen again. But my tool helped me. I was able to kind of speak up and say something after I kind of calmed down, or whatever it was, became unnumb, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so if you missed that episode and you want to learn about your tools and your tool shed and how to use them and everything like that, just jump over to my YouTube and check out episode 2. And don't forget to subscribe. But yeah, let's jump in. So I would say, talking about people pleasers, majority of us were people pleasers, at least the ones that partook in my poll. But people pleasers, it's what it is. You want to please everyone. You want to do for everyone. You don't want anybody upset with you. You want everybody to be your friend. And it can be exhausting. But I think there's pros and there's cons to it. I would say some of the cons of being a people pleaser are that you are overloaded with things to do because you don't know how to say no. You don't know how to just say, I can't do it right now. It's not going to work out. I've got some things going on. You don't want to say no because you don't want the person to be upset with you, when in all actuality, majority of people aren't, So, and there's a really good book. It's called Your Best Yes. I read it a couple years ago. I probably need to read it again, but it's by Lisa I'm not going to say it right, but Turkavist, whatever it is. But it's called Your Best Yes, and that's a really good book for people who have a really hard time saying no. She kind of just touches on all the ways of just saying your best yes. It's not that you're saying no, but you're giving your best yes. But yeah, that's a good one. So I would check that out if you have a problem with that. Or a hard time with that. I shouldn't say a problem. But another con I would say would be like people who overthink. You overthink whether or not someone likes you. You overthink if you did something wrong because they're not talking to you as much. I'm pretty sure that I have made up fake scenarios in my head because someone might have been more short with me or they didn't speak to me at all, when really they probably weren't short with me. There's I will tell you, there's times of the month when I am a little more sensitive to that, and I sometimes have to take a step back and be like, you're acting crazy. But yeah, and I think too that you, as a people pleaser, you tend to worry and stress a little more because of the same reasons, because you think that you did something wrong, or because somebody didn't talk to you as much as they normally do, or you waved and they probably just didn't see you, but they didn't wave back, or, I'll tell you though, I also think that I probably try to please my own child. I think I worry, and I'm hopefully not alone on this, but I think I worry sometimes about whether or not she's going to like me. Not that I want her to like me more than like my husband or anything like that, but I'm like, I almost have like this, basically I want to make sure that she's going to like me, and I worry about it and I stress about it, and I shouldn't. She's my child, And to jump into some pros, I would say pros of people pleasers is that we love to help. You need something? Sure, we'll help you out. Like, I think that's amazing. Oh, I would say another con is we do sometimes, I would say, get taken advantage of. Because we say yes, and people know that. And unfortunately, that stinks. But that's when you have to just use your best yes. But I would, again, on the pros, I would say that, we love to help out. We'll be there. What do you need? Tell me the time. I'm in, And it's not even helping. Like, you just love people. You want to be with them. They're going to get coffee. Sure, I'll go. Let's get coffee. They're going to dinner. Let's get dinner. I'll join. You're just hanging out. Game night. Whatever it is, we'll be there. I would say that some people would say this is a con, but I think it's a pro. Some people would say that we tend to care too much, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's good to care a lot. I think we're called to care. We're called to love people. So I don't think that that's a con. That's why I put it in as a pro. So continue caring, because it's a good thing. But then, another pro would be that people say that you're very reliable. You're a reliable person. They can count on you. You say you're coming and you're in. They can count on you being a yes. They can count on you being there to listen if they need someone to talk to. And I know for me, and I think this is probably the same for a lot of us, is that we're pretty good at finding the positive, looking at the glass half full. An example, I will use my grandpa, I call him Pawpaw. He's more of your glass half empty person and kind of sees that negative aspect of things, but he's older and he's been through a lot and he hurts. He's, gotten sick, he's had all the things, he's in pain, things that sometimes come with age, and sees a lot of the negatives. He's when I'm hurting, I'm probably a little more negative too. But I notice a difference when I'm talking to him now versus like a little while back, when I just kind of was like, you know what? I'm going to make it a point to talk to him, and I'm going to make it a point when he says something negative, I'm going to make it a point to try and find a positive in the scenario and tell him. And it made a huge difference. It has made a difference when we talk. He's not as negative, and if he does, I turn it around again, and the rest of the conversation goes a lot different. So I encourage you to do that. Try to keep trying to find the positive. If you need help finding the positive, shoot me a message and whatever it is, and I'll help you. I'll pray with you. I'll find that positive for you in that situation the best that I can. And to touch a little bit on people who are not people pleasers, because I had, some feedback on that, and of course there's people pleasers and not people pleasers. So to touch a little bit on the people who aren't people pleasers, I think there's pros and cons to that too. Some of your pros would just be that you're not a people pleaser. You don't overthink. You don't get as overloaded because you know how to say no. You don't worry and stress as much because you're able to just kind of brush it off, I would say. If somebody says no to you, you can brush it off. If somebody just doesn't say hi to you, you're like, oh, that's okay. I think the cons could be that there are some people who are to an extreme in it, where they're like, I don't care. Like, they don't like me, that's fine. But I don't think that's a healthy way to be a non-people pleaser, if that's a thing. I think you kind of want to find that happy medium of being a people pleaser and a non-people pleaser. I think you want to look at like, in the situation, who are you trying to please? Are you trying to please the other person? Are you trying to please whatever it is, I don't know what the scenario, the situation, but who are you trying to please? Because if you're ultimately not trying to please God, then there's no point. There's no point in letting it worry you and stress you out, because we're called, and it says in the Bible, that we should be seeking the approval of God, not of man, of God. So I have a couple of my own little tips and tricks to go back to the happy medium. I think that's kind of where that comes into play with the scripture. We still want to be servants. We're called to be servants. We're servants of God. We're seeking the approval of God, not man, in whatever it is that we're serving in. Whatever it is that we are doing in our daily, day-to-day life, we're called to serve God. So just do everything you're doing for His glory and in His name, to serve Him, to lift Him up, and you're fine. And I actually think that you would end up not worrying as much too, or overthinking things as much, because whatever it is that you're doing or not doing is because you're doing it to glorify God and to please God. But just some of my little tips and tricks that I said I was going to talk about tonight. Just be honest. If you're busy or you're feeling overloaded with things that you have to do and get done, it's baseball season, swimming, gymnastics, whatever it is, you've got kids, you're busy with work, you're working a bunch of overtime, because I know that's happened to me, and I've still just done. So I'm kind of preaching to myself right now too. But just to be honest, because I think people respect that. I know I do. I would much rather someone be honest with me and say, we're kind of just in a busy season right now. Probably can't do anything until whatever it is, T-ball, whatever you're going through, or all the overtime or whatever it is, until that's over, whether it's a month or 2 months or whatever. Just say, let's keep in touch, but I just don't think in this season I'm going to be able to help out with an event, or keeping someone's kids, or going to coffee, or just hanging out, whatever it might be. Be honest. I know, probably a silly example, but when you go to the doctor, if there's a long wait, I would much rather, when I walked in with an 18-month-old, them to tell me, hey, the doctor's a little behind, it's going to be a little bit, at least I know that it's still going to be the situation that it is. They're behind. I'm not going to get seen at 4 o'clock when I was supposed to, but at least I have a heads up. If they give you an estimated or a roundabout time of how behind they are or anything like that, I have a heads up. So I think even as far as the best yes thing goes, I would say just be honest. I think people will understand when you're honest. Like, I really want to get together. I really want to hang out, but we've got this going on right now. Can we try again in May? Let's keep in touch, let's keep talking. But let's try again in May. And I think people will respect that, rather than you just keep blowing off or keep saying yes and having to cancel because you just are overloaded and you can't do it. Another thing I would say, as like a little tip or trick for you, is to confront people if you feel like something's wrong in that time when you might be overthinking. I know that this is something I've been working on and practicing, and in the couple of times that I've actually done it, there's literally been nothing wrong. At least with me. They might have just been really busy that day, so they walked by, didn't even see me. They had a lot on their mind, or it opens up a door and they're stressed, they're having a hard time, they're struggling, and they just open up to you, and that gives you an opportunity to pray with them and talk to them and encourage them. So just confront people. I say confront them make sure you confront them in a gentle way. don't, hey, what did I do wrong? Or what's your problem? Or why aren't you talking to me? I think you approach them with love and just say, hey, probably just me. I'm a little crazy. I'm a people pleaser, whatever you want to tell them. But just approach them and confront them with honesty and just be honest with them. And they may not even realize it, So that clears the air, and you don't do like me and end up building up this wall and this whatever it is, this whole scenario and situation up that's not even real or true, and then you just kind of pull away and never end up talking to them. And the last and this is the biggest trick I would give you, is praying. Pray about it and pray through it. If you feel like there's something going on, or you feel like you're overthinking, or you're stressed, or you're overloaded, pray about it. And you will find peace just in praying about it. Even if there's no solution right away, you'll find peace in just praying about it. So I encourage you to pray in that situation, and how to handle it if you confront the person, if you don't confront the person, if you say yes, if you need to say no. Pray that when you tell them no, they'll take it in a good way and they'll understand. Pray that they'll be understanding. And I think you'll see that really helps. But gonna kind of conclude this up here. Thank you guys that have joined in. I know not everybody gets to join in every week, and not every talk's gonna be about everybody. You're not gonna always be able to probably relate to everything I'm talking about. And life is busy. So I thank you guys. I still continue to appreciate your messages. Please continue to message me. I love the relationships that are building from this. That's kind of one of the things I would like to come from this, because I think that we're a community. There's a community that needs encouraging. There's a community that we can encourage. And I hope that you get that from this, is get encouraged and be able to encourage. What you might be going through or have gone through, somebody else is going to go through, and you'll be able to help them and encourage them, and you'll hopefully remember these talks and be able to get back and help them. Yes, go back and watch, because you missed, I shared a little, sorry, I'm on live. This is probably weird if you're on YouTube watching, but I shared a personal story about how I use my tools that I talked about in episode 2. So that's earlier on. So yeah, definitely go back and watch so you can see that it is over. It will be on my YouTube tonight. Watch it whenever you can. But yeah, so I just encourage you. And as always, I think I kind of try to leave you with the challenges every week. And I just challenge you to use what I shared tonight. Use the little tips and tricks that have worked for me, and let me know if they work for you, or if you need some encouragement, or you need to find the positivity in something. Just, again, message me on here. I have an email now. It's Tabee Talks, the way I changed my Instagram name so everybody can spell it right. But it's Tabee Talks, Tabee Talks @gmail.com. You can email me, message me, and I will do my best to encourage you and lift you up. And I am going to be putting on a self-tanner tonight, because I'm really pale. So pray for me in that. Let's hope I don't turn out orange. I am pretty pasty. So yeah, I'll let y'all know how that goes tomorrow. But yeah, so don't forget to subscribe, share it with your friends, check it out, comment, like, whatever you feel led. And I look forward to seeing you next week, and be on the lookout for Thursday's scripture. And thank you guys again. See ya.